is gonna be a long drawn out story, is whenever I used to work at a bar, so there was a lady of the evening from Russia who sometimes would visit the bar. And one time she came to the bar and she was very drunk, and she sometimes would hit on me and the other bartender, but she wanted to go home and the bar was getting busy, so she had to go home. And she was maybe too drunk to get a taxi by herself, so she was asking one of us bartenders to help her. And I said to my other bartender, because he was my senior staff, I said, you know, what should we do? And he said, well, the boss said this happened before, we can do it. It turns out that's not true, but anyway. So I brought her to the taxi, and she was like trying to hold my hand, and I was pushing her hand away, and then we get in the taxi. And she's like maybe 26 maybe, she's still fairly young. And so we get in the taxi, and she tells the taxi driver where we're going, and we go to her apartment, and then she pays the taxi driver, and you know, I said, okay, have a good night. And she's like, no, come with me. And so she wants me to bring her to her apartment, and she's kind of stumbling. She's like, okay, I'll just walk you to the building. And we get to the building, and I'm like, okay, you know, bye. She's like, no, help me. So I help her into the elevator, and we go up to her floor. And the closer, at this point, I'm starting to get more and more worried, because it's like, I don't think she's as drunk as she's saying she is, and even if she's not, I think this is leading to something.
And many people have already been there.
Yeah, many people.
And paid people.
Many paid people. And I got off the floor at her stop and slowly walked to her apartment, and she opened up the door, and it was I could see inside, it was a very small apartment, just a kitchen, I could see her bedroom. And I was at the front door, and I'm like, okay, bye-bye, and she's like, no, stay. And I pull up way harder, like, no, I have to go back to work, because she doesn't speak English very well. I was like, no, come. And her nails were in my arm. She was like digging her nails in my arm. And we're having this small little tug of war sort of thing. And eventually, like, because she was so drunk, I pulled my arm away, and she fell down on the floor, like, ass first on the floor. And she fell pretty hard. And I was frozen because she was on the ground. I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm like, good. And I closed the door, and I started running away, and I could hear behind the door, no, come back. And I was afraid. I felt like in those movies where there's like, that person's gonna chase me. So I ran to the elevator, and I started pressing the button for the door to open. And then the elevator was slowly coming up, and I was afraid that either one, the elevator wouldn't come in time, or two, it did come, but as it would close, she'd be there. So instead, I was on the 8th floor. I had only option was to take the stairs. So I just started booking it down the stairs, and after every flight I went down, I could hear her scream like, no. And then eventually I heard it stop coming, and I got to the main floor, and I paused because the elevator was still coming back down, and so I was worried maybe that was her. So I ran to the front doors, and the doors were locked. And I'm like, oh no, because it was a fancy apartment, like, do I need a key to get out? And there's an exit button, so I pressed the exit button, and I quickly opened the door just as the elevator came down. Whether it was her or not, I don't know, and I left the apartment in, and that was it. That was my escape. But
and never turned back.
Never turned back. But I saw not too long after that, and there was this brief awkward moment of me being the prey that got away.